Dr. Schutz. Mr. Jester.
Here.
Ms. Ronio.
Here.
Ms. John.
Here.
Mr. Sherem.
Here.
Colonel Hassenlop. Scared me.
Right over here. And each year in the state of Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Foundation for Excellence identifies 100 students who are above and beyond in terms of performance and character and their academic prowess. This year we are blessed in the Lawton Public Schools to have 3 of the 100 All-Staters, which is absolutely fantastic. This evening I would like to introduce those to you, and if they would, I'd ask them to come forward and we will present them with a certificate. Now, we do understand, students, when we do this, that because of your special skills, you probably have more certificates than you have frames and more opportunities to be recognized. But through each student, teachers live rather vicariously, and what you accomplish we see as an extension of what we can contribute to make this a better world. And I just simply want to say to you that extends to members on the Board of Education, members in the community that know you as young people, know you as the kind of person that they want to represent them in this great big world or this society. And we're extremely proud of you. There are only about 20 to 25 high schools each year that have academic all-staters. To think that we have 3 of those high schools and that we have 3 of those 100 is absolutely exciting to me, because it tells me that each day when we come to work, we have those opportunities to work with some of the very best and most talented students around. So we recognize you this evening because you're special. We recognize you this evening because we want you to know that we appreciate the meaning you give to what we do each day. And we want you to know that we are in support of you no matter what, and we could not be prouder of you as we go forward. So we thank you for sharing your accomplishments with us. We thank you for being part of the LPS family. And we hope and we wish for you the greatest success as you go forward. We know that, unfortunately, we're not going to have your presence with us a great deal longer in LPS. But don't believe we won't be watching as you move on, because we will always claim you, believe it or not. It's kind of like parents. You're always going to be ours, and we're always going to be very proud of you. And we thank you again for what you've done to bring honor not only to yourself but to this school district. First this evening, I'd like to recognize Sam Johnson from Eisner High School. Sam, if you'd come forward. Here's your call. Sam was also recognized by the National Merit Foundation for his excellence, and you may have seen him before on some other awards that we've done, and I have a sneaky suspicion we'll see Sam's face again someplace down the road as well. Congratulations to you, Sam. And Dr. Schutz said no Frisbee in his front yard tonight, okay? That's it. Next, I'd like to introduce to you Michael Barnes. Michael is a student at MacArthur High School. You might remember earlier in the year, Michael was at one of our board meetings. Congratulations, Michael. He was at one of our board meetings, and we recognized him being selected to participate in, I believe it's called the Armed Forces Bowl. Is that correct? All-American Bowl, I'm sorry. He was selected as a band member to play in the band, and hopefully that was a great experience for him. He, too, is one of those students you know that down the road you'll see his face and hear of his accomplishments in the future. So, Michael, thank you. We're very proud of you. The last recognition this evening, and I didn't see Joe Lemke come in Joe is a National Merit Scholar from Lawton High School, and he has distinguished himself in many ways, especially academically. Joe really stands out in the classroom, as do all three of these young men do. But we will make sure Joe gets his certificate and coin. I will actually give those to Mrs. Manning as principal. And we are truly blessed as educators to get to come to work each day and meet and work with this quality of young person in our community. And I would ask you to give them one more round of applause and let us just say thank you.
Dismiss them, you want to go on?
We'll just go ahead and give you the opportunity if you would like to leave before we start let me back up and let's go one step back. Joe Lemke. Joe's from Lawton High School. Hi, Joe. Good to see you this evening, sir. Joe, as I said earlier, has distinguished himself in the classroom as a National Merit Scholar, and he is a very unique young man. He has a lot of spunk. I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. with Joe earlier on this year, and as we were walking away from the White House, Joe and some of his friends were talking about the protester that is always in front of the White House and the signs he had out there. And the conversation, after about 20 steps, was already to the carbon footprint that we as humans live on the earth. And I thought, I need to be quiet and do a lot of listening while these young people talk, because they were way over my level of intellect already. So all of these young people we've recognized this evening are very special. And Joe, we actually are glad you're here. We didn't know if Mrs. Manning could get that back to you or not, but we are glad to have the privilege of presenting it to you. And we thank you for what you have done to bring pride to the district. But most of all, we just want to tell you how proud we are of you for your accomplishments. So, thank you. You bet, Joe. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate very much you being here this evening. Parents, we appreciate you coming and supporting your children as well.
Do we have an architect's report?
No architect's report this evening.
Your report?
Under the report of the superintendent, let's go to item 7B. I have for you some budget recommendations regarding the summer school programs. There is a revised budget in here for the summer feeding, which you will remember we approved at the last meeting. That's simply kind of an update of knowing a little more about what is going to be located where and what we need to do in those locations. Also, Summer Academy and Summer Driver's Education. Before I ask you to vote on those budgets, obviously any discussion you would like to have, I'd be glad to have, but I do need to bring something to your attention. We are offering driver's ed only one semester this summer, just in June. That is simply because last year we didn't have the request to do that. We had employed teachers for the second semester and they were not there. So pretty much the students were not there, and we pretty much didn't need all of the employees we had. But the real thing I'm going to bring to you this evening is this will be my recommendation will be that this is the last summer that we teach driver's education. If it is not, we will need to replace the driver's education cars that we have. They are now 13 years old, and We have gotten a great deal of service out of them. We've been very diligent in their use so that they could be maintained for this purpose, but it is time for them to be updated, upgraded safety-wise, and I am not sure that those dollars are going to be available in our budget for next year. If they are, I certainly will bring them back to you, or bring back to you a proposal that we continue to teach driver's ed. But I wanted to give the general public knowledge that a year in advance that we will probably not be in the driver's ed business next year. Now, there are a number of our teachers who have private driving schools that are teaching out there and who do the same thing and do it in the same way they would if they were working for our schools. I'm not trying to promote their businesses, but given the current economic times, purchasing half a dozen $35,000, $40,000 vehicles doesn't seem to be real prudent when there's a possibility we may be cutting teaching staff. So I just wanted to call that to your attention, and be glad to discuss it this evening or at any time during the upcoming year. But I felt like it was more important to let the public know now that a year from now, this option for driver's ed through the schools will not be available.
I had one question. How many do we actually have in that program, any given summer?
In a given summer, usually there are around 70 students that go through that program. That's all we can accommodate with the teachers that we can hire and the cars that we have. You can count about 12 students per car you have in the summertime in order for them to get in enough driving to meet the required driving time. And so it's not a huge number of students, but it is it is something that people have always looked to the Lawton Public Schools to get some of that training. Interestingly enough, you can now take driver's education online. Obviously you can't do the driving online, but you can do all of the testing and all of the written work online, and then they will issue permits, and mom and dad get to be your mentors and tutors. And so that's kind of a unique possibility. I'm just thankful my children missed that. So, but
I move for approval.
Thank you.
I second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Mr. Sherem?
Yes.
Ms. Ronio?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Dr. Schutz?
Yes.
Item 7C is an addendum to your agenda. This is kind of a unique item. The reason there was not an item in your normal agenda is because somebody put the certified letter response from these individuals in the Memorial Hospital post office box instead of the Lawton Public School post office box. So we didn't get them in time to get them in the agenda, but we did put them on the addendum. Item 7C, 7D, and 7E are all the same item with the exception that there are 3 different individuals named. They are being recommended for termination by the superintendent, and all 3 of these have requested a hearing. My recommendation would be that we set that hearing for the first board meeting in June, and we will go from there. I believe that's June 3rd, is that correct, or is it June 4th? Somebody remember? I'm thinking it's the 4th. Let me look real quick. I'm sorry. You can tell I've got my act together tonight. It's June 4th, yes, for the hearing for all 3 of these individuals. Chuck, do we need to take individual action on those items?
You said all 3 of them the same. All 3 of these teachers' assistants worked in the same classrooms, so the same witnesses will apply to testify in all 3 cases. One was a teacher assistant, the other was personal care assistants.
I do need a motion to accept the recommendation, set the hearing.
Move for approval.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Ronio?
Yes.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Mr. Sherem?
Yes.
Dr. Schutz?
Yes.
And that's all I have for you this evening.
Are there any items that need to be discussed or removed from the consent agenda?
Dr. Schutz, on the consent agenda, starting on page 118 is a license agreement with Odyssey Ware. Each of you received a revised copy of that agreement. At your place, the only change is over under the paragraph dealing with litigation. They originally had these documents being subject to interpretation under the laws of the state of Arizona, and litigation to be in some county in Arizona, and that was not acceptable. So they have now agreed as of today that these changes are made in paragraph 14, where Oklahoma law is a controlling law, and I can't fathom any litigation coming from a licensing agreement, but still, if it's going to be, if there is going to be any we want it in our backyard. So that's the only change from that's the change I have from the consent agenda.
That's in item 15 of the contract that's on page 120 of your agenda.
Do you have a question? Move for approval of the consent agenda with the change to the Odyssey Ware license agreement.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Ronio?
Yes.
Mr. Sherem?
Yes.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Dr. Schutz?
Yes.
If I may, just very quickly, if I may, I would like to point out to you that Odyssey Ware software license agreement you just approved will allow us to do remediation for ACE. It actually is going to be paid for by ACE remediation money. It will also allow us to do online courses. It will also allow us to, in summer school this summer, have some online courses that students can take. Plus, it will be used on a daily basis in our alternative school. So we really feel like that the license we've just purchased, we're going to get our money's worth out of them, first of all. But second of all, in our reviews, and Mr. Smith, Kyle Smith, Robert Rochelle prior to his leaving, and others have looked at this program, and they're very impressed with the rigor of the program and with the quality of the program. So we're excited about all the options we're going to have to use that and enhance the technology for our students.
Barry, on those licenses that we're allowed to use, it says 85. Is that going to be enough for us? Can we alternate from one to the other?
There are 85 licenses available at all times, so we won't have more than 85 students on. But if someone gets off, someone new can get on.
Okay.
So at the alternative school right now, there are roughly 120 students. And so they will have plenty of license over there because we're going to use them in a blended environment, which means that there will be a teacher available, but also there will be technology available for the coursework. Then during the school year, we will have them available after school for credit recovery at each high school and for remediation for students, both in the summer and after school. So based on the numbers we've had of students that show up for those kind of things, right now that should be enough. I do think as we go down the road, we will see that number increase pretty dramatically in the next few years if things go according to how we hope they do.
Okay, thank you.
Is there an executive session tonight?
No, sir. No executive session this evening.
Okay. Personnel report.
Under item 13A, I would ask you to vote to approve the employing, promoting, disciplining, and receiving of resignations of individuals certified and support salaried personnel as they're listed on pages 132 through 134. You will notice a tremendous number of resignations and retirements for this upcoming year that are listed, pages 132 and 133 in particular, where our certified staff is, and also continuing into the support staff on page 134. Would not be logical to try to name each one of these people and what they've contributed, but there is no doubt in anyone's mind that's worked with these individuals that they have changed the lives of a lot of children very positively, And hopefully, as they start to enjoy their retirement, they're able to reflect back and know that they did make a difference.
Move for approval?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Jester,
Yes.
Ms. Ronio,
Yes.
Ms. John,
Yes.
Mr. Sherem,
Yes.
Dr. Schutz.
Yes. Consideration of new business. Board announcements. Well, consider a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. John,
Yes.
Ms. Ronio,
Yes.
Mr. Sherem,
Yes.
Mr. Jester,
Yes.
Dr. Schutz.
Yes.